I would say so, as Caitlin Clark and Flau'jae Johnson have a little fun. I think Flau'jae was going on her Instagram Live there.
I believe so.
Yeah. And Caitlin going over to Sophie Cunningham saying, "I'm sorry I didn't hit a bomb for you."
WNBA rookie Caitlin Clark made a surprising 10-word statement about UConn star Paige Bueckers, sparking excitement as Bueckers reportedly plans to declare for the 2025 WNBA Draft. "She's always been able to go up against the best," Clark said about Bueckers, a statement that carries immense weight coming from the player who shattered NCAA scoring records and transformed the landscape of women's basketball. Is to be selected first overall in the upcoming draft, following the same path Clark blazed just 1 year ago. This public praise from Clark directly addresses a concern that has reportedly haunted Bueckers for years: the fear of being overshadowed and forgotten amid the explosive rise of other stars in women's basketball. Despite being one of the most electrifying talents in the college game and the only player across the NBA, WNBA, and college basketball with a 50-40-90 shooting split this season, Bueckers hasn't generated the same media frenzy that surrounded Clark during her final season at Iowa. The timing of Clark's comments is particularly significant as they come while Bueckers is leading UConn on a dominant NCAA tournament run. The 23-year-old guard just delivered a career-high 40-point performance in the Huskies' 82-59 Elite Eight victory over Oklahoma, further cementing her status as one of the game's elite players. Yet even with these extraordinary achievements, the spotlight hasn't shone as brightly on Bueckers as it did on Clark last year. Part of this difference might come from Bueckers' strong support for more media coverage of black women in sports. When she won College Athlete of the Year at the 2021 ESPYs, Bueckers used her platform to talk about how black women athletes don't get enough attention. She said, "With the spotlight I have now as a white woman leading a black-led sport, I want to highlight black women. They don't get the media coverage they deserve. Their value is clear."
Media coverage is important for the game. I think it grows the game. I know freshman year I was like the media darling. Everybody was like focused on me and what I did at UConn my freshman year, but I think it's more important for the game to share the spotlight, to grow the game and show all the stars of college basketball, not just focus on one particular player, whether it be me, Caitlin, Juju, Angel. I mean, there's so many names in college basketball now that are huge, that are stars, that deserve credit, and I think it's not my job, but the media can do a better job of just making sure everybody gets love.
This courageous stance appears to have altered how certain audiences viewed her. As former NBA player Eaton Thomas noted in The Guardian, while Black America cheered Bueckers, mainstream white America, a demographic that once saw her as a media darling, wasn't as loud about her anymore. By publicly championing Bueckers' talent and resilience, Clark is effectively extending a hand across this divide and acknowledging her peers' extraordinary abilities. Clark's admiration for Bueckers runs deeper than just her on-court skills. Her game is just so smooth, she's fun to watch, she moves effortlessly out there like it's just so natural, Clark elaborated. Then she additionally works really hard at it. Paige has always been one of the most dominant players. That has never changed. What makes Clark's praise particularly meaningful is her acknowledgement of Bueckers' journey through adversity. After suffering a torn ACL that wiped out her entire 2022-23 season, many questioned whether Bueckers would ever return to her pre-injury form. Clark directly addressed this challenge. "The coolest thing about Paige is how resilient she is. Obviously, she's kind of been dealt a tough hand. The way she carries herself on and off the court, the way she works hard."
Like Hannah said, like Gabby Marshall just comes up with big defensive plays all the time. Like you see it time and time again for us, and she doesn't get enough credit for what she does. She guards one of the best players in the country, and really, challenges her quite a bit. Paige had a great game. I thought Gabby just played great defense on her, even when Paige made some tough baskets. Gabby just responded and kept going up there and guarding her. So I'm really proud of her, and I'm proud of our group for just being able to flip the page and move on to the next play.
The relationship between these two transcendent talents stretches back to their middle school days, giving Clark a unique perspective on Bueckers' character and work ethic. None of that has changed since I've known her since she was in middle school. She's always worked that same way. She's always had that fire. She's always been a great leader, Clark revealed, providing a glimpse into their shared history that few knew existed. As Bueckers prepares to leap to the professional ranks, questions swirl about her preferred destination. ESPN has reported that she would rather join the Los Angeles Sparks than the Dallas Wings, who currently hold the top draft pick. This adds another layer of intrigue to her impending decision, though Bueckers herself remains focused on UConn's current NCAA tournament run. Everybody at this point of the season is trying to keep winning, to win a national title and keep the season going as long as possible. Everybody has the same goal, Bueckers said recently. Whether your season is ending or your career is ending, you want to stay in one game at a time, one practice at a time, one possession at a time, and just focus on that and maximizing that, and not getting too caught up in the future. This laser focus on the present while acknowledging her imminent departure from UConn demonstrates the maturity that has defined Bueckers' collegiate career. But you do know in the back of your mind that every possession counts. And the potential arrival of Bueckers in the WNBA next season sets up a fascinating new chapter in women's basketball. The league has already experienced unprecedented growth following Clark's entry, with skyrocketing attendance figures and television ratings. Adding another transcendent talent like Bueckers could accelerate this momentum even further, especially if the two find themselves as rivals on competing teams. Their contrasting styles would make for compelling matchups. Clark with her logo-range three-pointers and flashy passing versus Bueckers' smooth mid-range game and exceptional efficiency. While they've faced off twice during their college careers, their meetings as professionals would take place on a much larger stage with significantly higher stakes. Clark's public endorsement of Bueckers' abilities could be seen as a strategic move as well. By acknowledging Bueckers as a peer worthy of respect rather than positioning herself as the singular face of women's basketball, Clark is helping to build a narrative of multiple stars elevating the sport together, a rising tide that lifts all boats. This approach aligns with Bueckers' own philosophy about growing the game. Everybody was focused on me my freshman year, Bueckers has previously stated. But it's more important to grow the game by sharing the spotlight and showing all the stars of college basketball. Clark's comments effectively do just that, distributing attention to another deserving star rather than hoarding it for herself. What do you think about Caitlin Clark's comments regarding Paige Bueckers? Is this the beginning of a legendary WNBA rivalry, or will they become allies in the continued growth of women's basketball? And how will Bueckers' potential selection as the first overall pick impact her professional trajectory compared to Clark's? The women's basketball landscape is evolving rapidly, and these two extraordinary talents are at the forefront of this exciting new era.
USC superstar Juju Watkins, as they were up early on Mississippi State on the way to a big win. This is the dreaded non-contact. Right knee buckles.
WNBA rookie Caitlin Clark shared a heartfelt message of support for USC star Juju Watkins, who suffered a torn ACL during Monday night's NCAA tournament second-round game against Mississippi State. The news has left the basketball world stunned. No one is expected. The devastating moment occurred with 4 minutes 43 seconds remaining in the first quarter of USC's Regional 4 matchup against Mississippi State. Watkins, driving to the basket with her trademark explosiveness, suddenly lost her footing and collapsed to the court in obvious pain. The 19-year-old sophomore immediately clutched her leg in agony before ultimately being carried off the floor, leaving a stunned silence across the arena as fans feared the worst.
Right. What I can share with you is that there were a lot of people on staff here that kind of came out of the stands, team doctors, medical personnel, who jumped into quick action with Juju Watkins. I am told that they do not have an MRI machine here, which would do further imaging on that knee. They can do, static ligament tests to see if there's some damage, but they can't do the MRI here. So they did wheel her out. We saw her go out in a wheelchair, wheeled out of the building. They will take her to a Keck Medical Center.
USC later confirmed everyone's worst fears with the diagnosis of a torn ACL, abruptly ending Watkins' remarkable season. Before the injury, the two-time unanimous first-team All-American had been averaging an incredible 23.9 points, 6.8 rebounds, 3.4 assists, and 2.2 steals per game while leading the Trojans to a commanding 33 record and a number 1 seed in the tournament. Despite losing their star player early, USC managed to regroup and secure a convincing 96-59 victory to advance to the Sweet 16. Sending all my thoughts and prayers to Juju. Kid will come back stronger than ever, Clark wrote on her X account Tuesday afternoon. A simple yet profound statement that speaks volumes about the respect between these two generational talents. The Indiana Fever Guard's heartfelt message comes at a moment when the entire sports world is processing the shocking injury to one of college basketball's brightest stars. What makes Clark's message particularly meaningful is the unique connection between these two exceptional athletes. As Clark completed her record-breaking career at Iowa last season and transitioned to the WNBA, Watkins emerged as women's college basketball's new transcendent star, the torchbearer for a sport experiencing unprecedented popularity. Many observers had identified Watkins as the most likely challenger to eventually break Clark's all-time NCAA scoring record, setting up what could have been an intriguing historical narrative over the next few years. USC head coach Lindsey Gottlieb addressed the injury during ESPN's live broadcast with remarkable composure. "She's getting seen by our great medical team. We have a group and a fan base, and a team that's going to have her back no matter what," Gottlieb said. "Juju is the toughest kid I know, and she's going to be good one way or another." This message of strength was reflected in Gottlieb's words, as she assured Watkins that she would come back stronger. Let's see what Gottlieb said.
Other than the statement that was put out at halftime, that she's getting incredible medical care from our, Keck Medicine and the people at USC and our trainers and doctors. So players don't have any update either as well. So just respectfully, I'd ask you not to ask them something that they don't know. But I'm feeling a lot of emotions, obviously. But the biggest one is pride. What a performance.
Clark's gesture didn't stand alone, as other basketball luminaries also reached out with supportive messages. NBA Hall of Fame point guard Magic Johnson and Clark's Indiana Fever teammate Aaliyah Boston were among the notable names sending well wishes to Watkins, highlighting the widespread respect the young Trojan has earned throughout the basketball world in just 2 collegiate seasons. The timing of this injury makes it particularly cruel. Watkins was just hitting her stride in this year's March Madness tournament, seemingly poised to lead USC on a deep run as a number 1 seed. For USC fans and basketball enthusiasts in general, seeing such a dynamic talent sidelined at this pivotal moment has been described as deflating by numerous analysts and commentators.
Most important things for Iowa in this game is to be able to secure defensive boards. LSU, an outstanding offensive rebounding team. Clark connects! Going to be given opportunities to take shots tonight. They need her to feel confident in her mid-range.
Clark's supportive message has been widely praised as a classy gesture from one superstar to another, drawing positive reactions across social media platforms. The mutual respect between Clark and Watkins represents the best of women's basketball, fierce competitors on the court who recognize and celebrate each other's talents and accomplishments off of it. For Watkins, the road to recovery now begins. ACL injuries typically require 9 to 12 months of rehabilitation, meaning the USC star will likely miss a significant portion, if not all, of the 2025-26 collegiate season. However, at just 19 years old, Watkins has time on her side. Many athletes have returned from ACL injuries to reach or even exceed their previous performance levels, including numerous WNBA and NBA stars. The unfortunate reality of major sporting events is that injuries are an inevitable part of the game. What matters most is how athletes respond to these setbacks and the support system they have around them during the recovery process. With encouragement from stars like Clark, supportive coaches like Gottlieb, and an entire USC community behind her, Watkins appears to have the foundation necessary for a successful comeback. As USC continues its NCAA tournament journey without its superstar, the team's resilience will be tested. Their commanding victory over Mississippi State demonstrates that the Trojans have the depth and determination to keep fighting, even without their leader. Whether they can maintain that level of play in the later rounds remains to be seen, but there's no doubt they'll be motivated to make a run for their injured teammate. For Clark, this gesture of support adds another layer to her growing reputation, not just as a transformative talent on the court, but as a leader in women's basketball more broadly. As she continues her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, Clark remains connected to the collegiate game where she made such an indelible mark. What do you think about Caitlin Clark's message to Juju Watkins? Does this show the growing camaraderie in women's basketball as the sport continues its meteoric rise in popularity? And how might Watkins' injury affect USC's chances in the remainder of the NCAA tournament? As the Sweet 16 approaches, these questions loom large for fans of women's basketball, who now find themselves rooting not just for their favorite teams, but for the full recovery of one of the sport's brightest young stars.
Brady, deep off, what's the top, ladies and gentlemen? He's hit the front, he's hit the straight. There you go. 70, 50, 40, 30, 20, again.
Australian sprint sensation. Gout has sent shockwaves through the athletics world by delivering a stunning rebuke to comparisons with legendary Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt. The 17-year-old phenom, who has been consistently breaking records and making headlines, has finally spoken out about the constant parallels drawn between him and the greatest sprinter of all time, and his response has left the track and field community stunned. Gout said in a candid 7 News Spotlight interview with renowned sports commentator Bruce McAvaney, "In the moment it feels great because everyone wants to be compared to Usain Bolt, the fastest athlete alive. At times, it does get a bit overwhelming, but now that I've grown up, I'm a bit mature, and my circle really helps me stay level, and I'm just trying to make a name for myself." Then came the statement that has everyone talking. "Although I do run like Usain Bolt, and I do maybe look like him, I'm just trying to be myself and trying to be the next Gout." With these powerful words, the teenage sprinter has made it clear that while the comparisons to Bolt initially felt flattering, they've quickly grown stale. The Australian superstar is now focused on carving his own unique legacy in the sport rather than living in anyone else's shadow.
Yeah, indeed. How did that feel? I mean, obviously, in the moment, it feels great because everyone wants to be compared to Usain Bolt, the fastest athlete alive. And at times, it does get a bit overwhelming, but now that I've grown up and I'm a bit mature, my circle really helps me stay level, and I'm just basically trying to make a name for myself. Although I do run like Usain Bolt, I do maybe look like him in a couple of ways. I just trying to be myself and just
What makes this declaration particularly significant is that it comes on the heels of Gout's extraordinary performances at the Queensland Athletics Championships in Brisbane. There, the teenager clocked an incredible 19.98 seconds in the 200-meter final, becoming the first Australian to break the 20-second barrier, though the time wasn't entered into the record books due to wind assistance exceeding the legal limit. In the heats, he posted a wind-legal 20.05, once again threatening Peter Norman's 56-year-old national record of 20.06, which Gout had already broken in December with a time of 20.04.
Away now, 3 heats. Under 20 boys, 100 meters. 10:35 on the clock there for Gout. He'll be through to the final later on this evening.
These remarkable achievements have naturally invited comparisons to Bolt, who revolutionized sprinting during his dominant career. But Gout's rejection of these parallels represents a bold statement of independence from an athlete who appears wise beyond his years. Rather than embracing the mantle of the next Bolt, he wants to establish himself as the first Gout, a superstar in his own right. Australian Olympic great John Stephenson believes the teenager's impact extends far beyond his individual achievements. He is fun to watch. It is at the point where it's just fun and exciting and the world is on notice. And really, Australia haven't had a legit sprinter since Matt Shervington, Patrick Johnson, and Peter Walsh, and they haven't done what this kid is doing, Stephenson told news.com.au after Gout broke the 20-second mark. Gout has done this at just 16, 17, and even if nothing happens from here, what Gout has done has set up Australians sprinting for the future, Stephenson continued. We should be in debt for the work he has done, because he's given us some belief that we can compete again with the best in the world. The international athletics community has certainly taken notice. According to Stephenson, when I speak internationally, everyone is curious about him, and even more importantly, every young boy and girl in this country that has seen what he is doing now has that seed of belief that they can do it, and it is priceless for our sport. This growing global attention makes Gout's decision to distance himself from the Bolt comparisons even more significant. Many young athletes might be tempted to lean into such prestigious parallels, but Gout's determination to forge his own identity speaks volumes about his character and confidence. With the Brisbane Olympics coming in 2032, Australian fans are already dreaming of what could be a historic moment on home soil. He is doing all the right things, so without a doubt, the world is his oyster. And we, as the Australian public, should give him time, enjoy what we are seeing, celebrate that he is an Australian, and that we have Brisbane Olympics in our backyard, and come, then potentially he is lining up, and we are cheering him home in another Kathy Freeman moment, Stephenson predicted.
Cody Jordan as his nearest challenger, starting to roll, just too late. It is the double of Bayanda Walaza.
The reference to Freeman's iconic 400-meter gold medal at the 2000 Sydney Olympics highlights just how significant Gout's potential has become in the Australian sporting consciousness. Already, at just 17, he's being mentioned alongside one of the nation's greatest Olympic moments, with expectations that he could deliver something similarly special in Brisbane. For now, though, Gout's focus remains on his immediate future. Fans won't have to wait long to see him in action again, as he's set to compete at the Maury Plant Meet in Melbourne on March 29th. This prestigious event will provide another opportunity for the teenager to showcase his extraordinary talent, and perhaps break even more records along the way. What makes Gout's rejection of the Bolt comparisons particularly noteworthy is that there are legitimate parallels between the two. Both are tall, graceful sprinters with exceptional closing speed. Both burst onto the scene as teenagers, setting age group records and competing against much older athletes. And both have charismatic personalities that transcend their sport. But Gout clearly understands something profound, that true greatness doesn't come from being the next version of someone else. It comes from authenticity, from embracing your unique strengths and building your own legacy. By pushing back against the Bolt comparisons, he's not diminishing the Jamaican legend's achievements, but rather asserting his own place in the sport's hierarchy. As the athletics world continues to watch Gout's development with bated breath, his stance serves as a reminder that in sports, as in life, the most compelling stories aren't about following in someone else's footsteps,